Hello YouTube and welcome back to the G Sharp Jams FX Studio 2 channel. Thank you for joining me again today. Today we're going to take a look at two of my favorite combinations when using different modules and comparing them and using the different functions that each one offers, putting them together to come to a unique sound. That being the 542, which is in my rack right behind me here, and just above me right there, the Drawmer 1978. Yes, the Neve 542 and the Drawmer 1978. Stay tuned. Okay, so first let's start off with, before I get to the demonstration, a quick definition of audio engineering. Now, if you were to ask anybody who works in a studio what audio engineering means to them, you'll come up with a lot of different answers. And basically, the definition of audio engineering is knowing how, when, where, and why to use different effects, different signal processing, and different dynamics during your mix. That's basically what it is. Now, of course, it goes a little bit deeper than that, and there's a more thorough explanation, but basically that's what audio engineering is. It's not just saying, yeah, I own a couple of modules and I can turn a few knobs and make different sounds and voila, I'm an audio engineer. No, it goes a lot deeper than that. Now, I say that to introduce this concept to you. If you call yourself an audio engineer, then you need to know exactly what you have and how to use it. And that's just not one module at a time, but taking a look at the different modules that you have in your rack and combining the different features of them to create a sound. And that's what we're going to talk about today using the 542 from Neve and the Drawmer 1978. Now, the 542, as I discussed in my previous video, gives you silk red, silk blue, tape emulation, and saturation. Today with the 542, we're going to focus in on that silk red, silk blue, and saturation in combination with the Drawmer 1978 saturation. Now, question comes up, why would I want to do that? Several reasons, and that's why I created this video today. First of all, using the Neve 542, of course, again, we have that saturation knob, and we can add that analog warmth and grit and a little bit of dirt to the sound and make things very loud. So that's what it does. That's exactly what it does. As if you haven't watched my first video, go back and watch it and you'll get an idea of what I'm talking about. Now, if we take the Drawmer 1978, that has saturation as well. It is a stereo compressor that gives you a saturation knob, and it gives you the ability to use a high pass and a low pass filter to choose which frequencies you want that compressor to leave alone. So just a quick explanation of what that means. If we use the EQ knobs on the Drawmer 1978 compressor and we set the low frequency to 200 hertz, we're telling the compressor, don't touch any of the low signals or low frequencies below 200. Leave them alone. Don't compress them. It also gives you a high frequency filter as well. So if we were to set that high frequency to a certain level, we're telling that compressor, go ahead and compress everything else that's coming into you, but leave everything below that signal or the setting that I chose alone. Don't compress those signals. And then, of course, again, we have the saturation knob. Now, let's get back to the combination. Let's say, for instance, we have a track, and let's say we're looking at a bass drum, a kick drum. And we want to take that kick drum and add some saturation to it. Now, if we're using the Neve 542, we can turn on silk blue which is going to give us a nice boost to that low end, the mid lows, or the low mids, I should say. I always confuse that. I always get that wrong. It's the low mids. It's going to give you a boost there with the silk blue and the 542. Now we have our kick drum with a nice little boost, bringing up that low end a little bit higher. Now, the 542 also gives you the saturation knob. As you increase saturation on the 542, you actually lower the overall response, or the overall signal level, I should say, of that kick drum. If you turn down saturation, you're actually bringing up the overall level of that kick drum. That's the difference with the 542 and saturation. It doesn't want to oversaturate anything when you turn that saturation knob all the way up. So the trick is, if you want some saturation, be very cautious and use that saturation knob very gently, because the more you turn that saturation knob up, you're actually bringing down the signal level of that kick drum. Important thing to remember there. Which is why the combination of the Drawmer 1978 with the 542 is such a powerful tool. For instance, we've got that kick drum, we're using the 542, and we've used silk blue with it. Now, instead of using the saturation knob on the 542, we're going to use the saturation knob on the Drawmer 1978. Here's the difference. With the saturation knob on the Drawmer 1978, the more you increase it, the more saturation you get. The more saturation that you get, and you know that once it starts to turn red, as you increase the saturation on the 1978, it doesn't change the levels of whatever the signal is that you're processing. That level is going to remain the same, and it's going to saturate that level. As opposed to the 542, if you turn that saturation knob up or if you turn it down, you're either increasing or decreasing the level of the signal that you're processing. The Drawmer doesn't do that. So think about that for a minute. I want to take a kick drum and I want to add saturation, but I don't want the level of the kick drum to change. So I use the saturation of the Drawmer 1978 instead, because the Drawmer 1978 saturation can act as a standalone saturation tool. It's built into the compressor along with that low pass and high pass filter that's in there, but you can use it as a standalone tool. So now you may be saying to yourself, okay, well, why don't I just get myself a $60 plugin that is basically used for saturation? Yes, absolutely, you can do that. Here's the difference. With the Drawmer 1978, you get, again, a compressor, a saturation, and the high pass and low pass. That's 3 different things that you can use on it. Put those in combination together and put it on your drum bus, and you have a great tool for your drum bus. If you go out and you say, well, I'm not going to spend $1,000 on a Drawmer 1978, that's fine. And you go ahead and you buy a $50 or $100 saturation plugin, that's fine. But you're missing out on everything else that this 1978 can do. I would rather personally have the choice of saying, I've got all this stuff in one module, and let me pick and choose what I want to use instead of spending $50, $60, $70 on a plugin. This, my friends, is audio engineering. Knowing what you have, when to use it, why to use it, and how to use it. And not just one single module, but learning how to put together combinations of the different modules that you have. Until next time, G-Sharp jams out for FX Studio 2. Stick around, I've got a lot of great videos coming up. Thanks for watching.